I rolled up. I just gardened. Now it's time to watch some reality TV. Episode 7, and it's the cash trip. So the ladies are going to Mission Beach in Queensland. Before they go, we see Lydia and Jackie go shopping at a boutique, and we also see Andrea packing with her daughter and one of her nannies to make sure her checklists are in order. The way that this franchise does cash trips is different. It's only one episode, and we don't even really see them get ready. Like when they travel to the resort, we don't see them check in. We don't see them go in their rooms, get ready for the day. They kind of just all come out in this like communal area near the pool and the bar. Yeah, very interesting. And it's only one episode. I think usually in the American franchises, the episodes are at least three. They're usually the cash trip is usually 3 episodes long. So it's like them going, preparing themselves, and then like the night one dinner. Second day is like activities. Third day is like activities. Last day stuff, more drama. Depends on how big the drama is. It might be 4 episodes. But this one was just like a one and done episode. They wrapped it up really nicely, but the drama was definitely there. So to start off the trip, all the ladies, I guess, flew to this helicopter hangar because not Andrea, because Lydia and her husband obviously fly a lot. She wanted the ladies to fly via helicopter to the resort. Everyone is there, and then Andrea again makes a note that Gina is running late again, which makes Janet more irritated again. So we're all just fixated on Gina as if. Now listen, I know like in previous and other franchises like Beverly Hills, like Dorit always being late. If that is the case, if that is like an issue of a cast member always being late, then there needs to be better parameters for like making sure they're on time or like just leaving without them, to make sure that they're there on time. Dorit is an extreme because she's been on there for so long and her lateness is ridiculous. But in this case, it feels like the lateness is blown out of proportion. So like when Gina was late for tennis, it seemed like the drive was the time that she was late and that she had work. So she couldn't come like the time everyone came. She had to do work and then drove, and then that's what made her late. And then, what was it? And then they said that she was getting ready for an hour, which made her extra late for the actual tennis day. Which, I mean, if you see Gina and you know that like she's prim and proper, it's gonna take her some time to like get ready, right? I digress. It just seems like they're choosing to pick on her. Why? I don't know. Maybe they're jealous of her because she's a barrister. I don't know. So the ladies, they go on the helicopter. They all can't fit together, so it's split 3 by 3 because it's a group of 6. So Jackie, Gina, and Chica are in one helicopter because Janet didn't want to go in the helicopter with Gina because she's irritated by her being late. Even though once they mentioned that she was late, she literally showed up like 2 minutes later. So it was like it feels like they're blowing it out of proportion. Okay. The other one is Lydia, Andrea, Janet. So they all go. What is it? Andrea is a little bit nervous about flying. And then in the other helicopter with Gina, Chica, and Jackie, Gina shares that she has family in Italy. So she has a little bit of European. I mean, she's white. They're all European. So the ladies arrive to the resort. I forgot which lady, but I think it was Janet that said that they have the entire resort to themselves, which is lovely. But again, we don't see where their rooms are. I think we do get a glimpse later on. Spoiler, with Gina leaves early, we get a glimpse of her bathroom, but that's about it. We don't really see their rooms. Oh no, and then the ladies' gab. So I don't know if that was the spa or their room or like a communal area, but again, we don't really see their rooms. But we do see the pool slash bar slash dinner area that they're going to be mostly meeting up at for the rest of this episode. So the first night that they are there, they meet up at the pool for some drinks. Everyone is dressed up, I guess, just for a night of fun. That's when Chica decides to, I guess, suggest a doggy day with all their dogs. So she gets to plan like a day where they all come to her house. She's like, I'm planning everything, just bring your dogs. The first morning on their trip, Jackie, Andrea, and Lydia go for a morning stroll. Obviously, they end up on the topic of Gina because at least for Lydia and Andrea, they're always shit talking. Very interesting how we start the show or we start the season with Lydia, Gina, and Andrea kind of like being close in like a circle together. And then once Jackie comes into the picture and she has an issue with Gina, and then they go on the ski trip together. It seems like they just like turn their back on Gina like immediately. Interesting. So they get on the topic of Gina again. Andrea shares that because of Gina's lateness and her attitude and her behavior, Janet feels hurt by Gina and has been telling everyone about all the things Gina has been saying about them behind their backs. So they go over Gina apparently talking about their books. They go over Cuntgate. They go over, well, they go over, but they should talk the email debacle. So they just sit there and just talk all this shit. And then Jackie's like, well, we had a heart to kind of like a down to earth moment about where she's from, where her family's from. And she's like, now all you're telling me this and it's all crazy. You guys should just bring it up at dinner or like talk about it, right? Like if it's such an issue, because they were like, oh, there was so much tension last night, everyone's so fake. But it's like, you guys are on vacation, you want to have a good time, you don't want to ruin the fun energy by like attacking someone. So the whole issue is that Janet said what Gina said in the bathroom, right? We don't know if she talked about Andrea. We just know what we're being shown, which she said she was talking about Lydia. But for some reason, Andrea is inserting herself because she's attaching herself to Lydia. And in the way that these girls move this whole episode, it feels like a very mean girl, like high school. It was just like how like strongly, especially Lydia, goes against Gina is just ridiculous. Like you're supposed to be her friend, and basically, again, all this started because you were spreading information instead of just sitting down with Gina about it. Yes, Gina said it, but you are the cause of the drama for bringing it to the group. And now the way you're acting towards Gina is very like, what? It's like very left field. And then the email debacle didn't help at all. So obviously with her ex or whatever sending out an email of a possible cease and desist of the Housewives for them to stop talking about him because he was upset about the whole reading with Jackie. For some reason, Gina decided to CC Andrea and Lydia in it, and now they feel threatened. Even though she said she just wanted to make them aware that it's happening. I mean, if you CC them in the email, did you tell them, hey guys, I'm gonna send you this email, or even just forward them the email, right? Hey guys, I'm just forwarding you this email to let you know this is what my boyfriend is doing, da 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 da, so that you're not alarmed. Did she ever say that to them? Because if not, then I understand the animosity of like, why are you sending this to me? This is weird, left field. I feel threatened. I get that. But if she did explain that to them and was like, hey, I'm just making you aware this is happening so you're not blindsided, then them acting the way that they are feels very weird. So after all the shit talking they do on their morning walk, the ladies end up going to the pool for a yoga class, and then the other three ladies, Chica, Jenna, and Gina, join them, and they all have yoga by the pool. So after they have yoga, it looks like the ladies put on their bathing suits to tan and lounge by the pool to have a nice pool day. For some reason, they each arrive one by one. Again, we don't see them get ready. We just see them arrive. So first, Gina comes looking fabulous. Then Andrea comes. She looks appropriate. She kind of ignores Gina a little bit, which is weird. But she was like, I'm not gonna fake it for the camera, even though she kind of was faking it. I mean, like she been had an issue with her since Janet's birthday party, but you invited her to your tennis day and all this just so that you could have an issue with her. But now you wanna not act fake. Okay. So then Gina tries to like be like, oh hi, and she kind of just like, cold shoulder. Then we see Jackie come, shine in her bathing suit. She looks cute. Shine. Honestly, Jackie has been giving me not cute looks, right? Her fashion is great. So Jackie decides to sit next to Gina. Lydia comes and then decides to sit next to Andrea. So it's basically like a schoolgirl situation. When Lydia sits next to Andrea, she especially just like, oh, I'm tired of everyone being fake. Last night, everyone was being so fake towards Gina and not understanding like they should have brought up all their issues. It's like, again, you're on vacation. You want to have a good time. You don't want it to be about drama the entire time. So they're over there giggling, looking on like two mean girls. And then Gina and Jackie are having a nice conversation. Gina does have, well, no, Jackie doesn't have kids, so she's like, I couldn't imagine going on vacation with kids right now. Da, da, da. They have a nice little talk. So after we see Andrea and Lydia talk more shit, then Chica comes and sits next to Janet. I don't know why we didn't see Janet walk in, but I guess Janet was already there. Janet, for some reason, is on the other side of the pool, obviously, because she's not talking to Gina. We're all distancing ourselves from Gina instead of just talking to her one on one and, facing this head on. But okay. So Chica joins Janet on the other side, and then they kind of have a moment of a heart to heart. They do have a little moment where they cut to Lydia sitting there, just like going on and on about how she's upset that everyone's being fake around Gina. And so Andrew's just kind of like, why don't you just talk to her at this point? Like, if it's such an issue, because she just literally, she's like pestering it, like, oh my god, I'm just so irritated. And it's like, okay, so then go talk to her. If there's an issue, then go talk to her, or talk to the other people that you feel like are being fake towards her. Like, stop just saying it and do the do. But then we do have a moment with Janet and Chica. They have a heart to heart. So we learn that Janet's younger son was in a bad fire accident at a friend's house where I guess some of the gasoline got on him and the fire exploded. He ended up getting caught by the fire, and he had third-degree burns on 70% of his body. And in the hospital, they said he only had like a 35% chance of survival, which is crazy. And that happened about a year from filming. So she's been taking care of him, and she's like nervous being away from him for so long on vacation, obviously. Which that whole story was insane. I'm just glad he's okay. So then after their moment, their like come to Jesus moment about that, we see Jackie and Andrea join them just to, like liven up the vibe. And then once they're like, we see Jackie joining to liven up the vibe. So we see Andrea coming over so that Lydia has a chance to go talk to Gina, and then Andrea just looking onward like a freaking weirdo. So Lydia and Gina sit down. Now, the way that Lydia approaches this conversation felt very like accusatory. Like, it wasn't like a friend coming to a friend I've known for years of like, let's sit down and have a discussion. I really want to talk. It was more of like a, you're the problem, you need to listen to me, you're the problem. Like, what? That's not how you talk to somebody. Like, first it started out with, well, no, the whole conversation was mostly around her relationship, right? She was trying to get more information out of her. In the confessional, she was saying how she wanted Gina to come out of her shell more. But again, the way that the conversation went actually in person was like, you just want dirt on me so you can go back and talk shit again. I'm not telling, like, I understand why Gina was very reserved because she's already opened up to you and you went to blab your mouth. I'm not going to open up to you because you're going to go blab your mouth again, especially to Andrea. Like, I'm not going to, especially with the way Andrea acted later this episode, I'm not going to blab to you again. So I'm going to, keep it close to the chest, which I understand. So you could tell Lydia was trying to get more information about her relationship. So, okay, they broke up and she still talks to her exes. Some people do. Tomato, tomato. Not tomato, tomato. What is it? To each their own. So she still talks to her ex, their friends. And Lydia's trying to figure out, well, like, the way that the conversation is like, what are you trying to get out of me? You know what I mean? So the way that she's asking questions of, like, if she's still involved with her ex, even though Lydia knows that Gina broke up with him, because I think Lydia was one of the first people to know. It seems like Lydia is making it seem like, oh, you're still involved with him because you're still talking to him. But, like, Gina's trying to make it known, like, just because I talk to him and he's overseas doesn't mean we're in a relationship. We can still be friends. Yes, we're in contact, but it's not like he's my boyfriend still. We severed that romantic tie. We're just friends at this point. You can still talk to people. I mean, that's a pen pal at that point, right?
Lydia is the kind that does need a man in her life,
But for some reason, that answer does not satisfy Lydia. So she walks off irritated, right? Because Gina's basically like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do because it's my life and I'm going to do what I want to do, period. So then she walks off and that's it. And clearly that wasn't enough for Lydia. Later that night, the ladies gather for dinner in the same kind of area, I guess, or like, I guess, off to the side a little bit in a different section of this big communal area. To start the conversation of the group, Jackie suggests for everyone to give their first impressions of everybody. Obviously, most of the people who've known each other longer are going to give their first impressions from like way, way back. I feel like the only person this really works for is Jackie because she's newer to the group. Like she just joined the group versus it seems like everyone knew each other at least. They said what 20 years? Like they're like, oh, for 25, 23 years, Gina and Janet knew each other that long. So the way that Janet is acting towards Gina feels very weird. Obviously, this feels all very manufactured for the camera a little bit because the way that the three of them, Janet, Andrea, and Lydia, attack Gina in this dinner is insane. It should have been one on one, but once Janet brings it up, it feels like Lydia and Andrea just bandwagon and then just was like attacking her and gang up on her. Janet starts with her issue with Gina. She was like, I don't like that you were late to tennis and then you took an hour to get ready. And then it was like all this time and you didn't care for you weren't considerate of other people's time. Understandable. All she wanted was an apology, which Gina did give. And then that was her issue and that was it. Even though she did kind of just bandwagon a little bit on the other issues after that because after, once she felt burned by tennis day, then she just like spilled all of Gina's tea the same way Lydia did and was like, and now there's more shit being brought up, i.e. Cuntgate, where Gina calls Lydia a cunt. But then again, Andrea inserting herself, making it seem like she called both of them a cunt. What we see is she's just talking about Lydia, but Andrea just feels like, oh, because of the fact that I brought it up at the dinner, she's talking about me. Again, it's not about you. Once the issue with Gina dies down, then Andrea starts to get activated and like goes after Gina. And then Lydia bandwagons on this one. And then they're going after her like two schoolgirls.
So did you think that went all right? Oh, I thought Janet was a bit soft. Yeah, I did too. You spoke so well. Did I? Yeah. What did I say? She's scared. Let me tell you. She's back door, let me tell you.
It's like this definitely felt like two mean girls going after the other girl because they're jealous. What are they jealous of? I have no idea. But for some reason, they're jealous of her. I don't know if it's because of her style and the fact that she's a barrister and she's still accomplished. She's also a cancer survivor. I don't know how many people, like Andrea knew she was like a cancer survivor. I'm not saying like that abhors you from your behavior, but like have some couth about yourself. You know, you keep saying how, oh no, the reason Gina was late because she had things to do for her job, right? Dealing with the courts and the government is another thing than dealing with like a med spa or beauty spa, right? Her job is a little bit more serious. I'm not saying one job is more serious than the other. Both jobs are serious because you have healthcare and then you have the legal system, but her job is just a little bit more serious. And so when Gina expresses like, "Oh, I was busy," da da da, Andrea takes offense to that. She's like, "Well, I'm busy too because I have this and I have that, and I'm more busier than you." And it's like, y'all both have kids. Y'all both are working women. No one is more busier than the other. We all have our lives. I feel like she's just jealous. I don't know why she's jealous. Like, you clearly have your checklist, your nannies, your med spa, your businesses, your opening new location. Like, you got things going on for yourself. Why are you so pressed about Gina? Like, she's very pressed about Gina for some reason. And I don't know if it's, again, appearance or not, but baby girl, go to some therapy. This whole dinner, they were all arguing right back and forth between Cookgate, the book debacle, and then Andrea's issue with tennis day because of all the makeup and debris. We didn't see what it looked like in the bathroom. I really wish they would have showed us, but we didn't see how bad the bathroom was. She's upset how she had to clean the bathroom because it was stuff everywhere, and it's like all these things, right? And then they get to the email, and then they're like, and then Lydia expresses how Andrew was upset. She was like, he was upset. He didn't know what to do. He got this email from legal, like, da 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 da. And then I don't know if Gina was just feeling, because obviously she was attacked, right? I don't know how Gina was feeling in that moment. I wish she would express herself more in that moment, but I would have froze too because it's like all y'all coming at me with all these issues. Again, instead of coming to me one on one about your issue, you're all coming at me at once. It's like, First of all, she didn't even know that Janet had an issue because Janet never came to her because Janet was trying to avoid her for some reason. So now Janet, Andrea, Lydia, all at the other side of the table, especially Andrea, she was like directly across the table, like going at her, right? All of these ladies going at her at one time, and it's like I would have froze. I really wish they would have came to her one on one instead of doing all this. It made more sense for Andrea and Lydia to come at her. It did not make sense for Janet to come at her like that. Chica was at least trying to defend her and be like, listen, guys, this is too much at one time. If y'all each have issues one by one, don't just all come at her because they were all arguing all at one time. She was trying her best to explain. She was like, especially with the email, right? She was like, oh, well, I only said that to make you guys aware so you're not blindsided. But they couldn't get past it, like, oh, I was threatened. I felt threatened. Da, da, da. Again, I don't know if an explanation came with the CC email. You should have sat down and had a conversation instead of just attacking her because you felt all this tension and animosity. That whole dinner, I don't know why, it felt like Andrea and Liddy were very threatened by Gina. But then after dinner from hell, we cut to the next day, and then we see Gina gathering her stuff. Like I said, we see her bathroom, and she ends up leaving the resort early because I wouldn't want to hang around those bitches either after all that. And when Chica, Andrea, and Lydia sit down and talk, Lydia is like doing a weird 180 or like a weird flip flop of like, I mean, yeah, we did come on strong, but also she wasn't taking accountability, but also this, but also that. It's like, make up your mind. And then later that day when they go to lunch, she was like, "Oh well, I'm just so sick of Gina acting like this and da 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 da." And it's like they're they feel like she they feel like Gina is threatening them when it's clear that they are threatened by Gina, unprovoked. Like, why are you so threatened by this lady? Right? You all have your businesses, you all have children, you all have your lives. What is it about Gina that makes y'all so threatened? That makes y'all so pressed? Lateness is one thing, but that's one thing. There's other aspects of people besides lateness. I don't know how many times she's late for whatever activities, but they're pigeonholing tennis day. Yeah, I think they're just pigeonholing tennis day about her being late. So it's like, what is the real issue? After Gina leaves, they all have a discussion. They all talk about her leaving. Chica does express that, like, yeah, y'all went a little too hard last night. It was too much. It should have been more one on one. Y'all definitely didn't need to come at her the way that y'all did. And there's no remorse, at least not from Andrea. Lydia, she's trying to be on both sides so that she's good with everyone. But by the time they get to lunch, she was like, I'm just so upset. Like, that she didn't take no accountability or Gina didn't act the way they wanted her to react. She was cool, calm, collected the whole time. She didn't want to, sweat. So kudos to Gina. But Gina leaves early. And then at the lunch, what's her name? Andrea invites everyone to her grand opening. But then in the preview for next week or the next episode, we see that she takes her invitation back. So we'll see. Don't mind my hideous nails. I'm retrying press ons so I can spend less money on my nails. And I don't have the proper glue, so now some of my hands don't look the greatest. But anyway, episode 8, Lydia goes to visit an old friend, Lisa. They discuss the drama in the group and her trip to Mission Beach. Lydia feels that Gina doesn't care about being in the group due to her always being late, but I feel like they only specify her being late to the tennis day. They haven't really said that she's been late to other events, even though when we see before the tennis day, we saw other ladies show up like one by one. Gina isn't always the last one to arrive. There's been other times that like other people have arrived last or she arrived with other people. But for some reason, everyone is sticking to tennis day being the day that she was late. And they also talk about how her friend Lisa has taken over the business or taken over her husband's business, but Lydia would never do the same because she doesn't feel that her him being home and her having to work, obviously she's, with the typical gender roles. Andrea goes to visit a publisher to continue the process on her book. She's now writing a book about picking the right nanny slash babysitter, and how to stay organized as a working mother, because she feels that women, or at least mothers, aren't the most organized. No, she says women aren't organized. So she feels like she needs to write a book to make sure all women are organized. She's writing this book directly in spite of comments from a mother. I guess she had an interaction. We also learned that she was a former journalist. So she has a little bit of background in writing, which is what motivated her to write this book. The next scene, we see Ben and Jackie go to the distillery that will make the alcohol for their liquor brand. They meet with the general manager to talk the specifics about packaging and everything like that. Jackie mentions that their launch party is in 4 weeks, but the process to distill the alcohol, the packaging, or figuring out the packaging supplier and everything is actually 8 weeks. So I don't know how she's going to do this, and I don't know why she's rushing this timeline, but hope it works out for you, babe. They also meet with a chemist in the distillery who will be making, I guess, the formula for their alcohol. They go over percentage, what was it? They go over percentage, price point per percentage, and all that good stuff. Lydia and Andrea meet up for lunch to debrief about Mission Beach. Andrea expresses she demands an apology from Gina, and she's distancing herself from Gina and disinviting her to her Liberty Bell launch. Janet goes to visit Andrea's husband, Dr. Moss, the plastic surgeon, about reconstruction surgery for her son since it's been 2 years since his accident, and this seems like the proper, I guess, wait time period between the accident and when he actually could start reconstructing, I guess, whatever the burns messed up on his body, right? It's time for Andrea's opening of the new Liberty Bell Center. Lydia and Chica arrive, and we learn that Chica's company catered the event as well as did the design for the marquee, which is great. It's nice to see people supporting each other, friend groups supporting each other with their businesses. Then Janet and Jackie arrive. The ladies make it known that Gina is the black sheep of the group and that the dynamic is better as a group of five. Andrea gives a speech and shouts out all the ladies. Afterwards, the ladies get together in their little group. Andrea brings up Gina again because that's all Andrea can do is bring up Gina for some reason. Like in every scene, Andrea is the specific one that always asks, "Where is Gina? Is Gina coming? This Gina, this Gina, that." It's like this girl literally lives rent free in your head for some reason. Why? Why? Like you could tell she's been wanting a problem since Janet's party. Like I forgot, was that episode 3 or 4? No, episode 5 or 6 or something like that. She'd been wanting to have a problem with Gina since Janet's party. After she got to know Jackie, right? After her Jackie and Lydia went to the ski resort. So her and Jackie got close, and now she wanted to side with Jackie, and now started creating problems for Gina. Not out of the blue, but like picking things to create problems with. So she has a problem with Gina. Chica, trying to be Switzerland in the situation, tries to get the group to move on from consistently talking about Gina. If they're saying that obviously things are better without her, then stop mentioning her, right? Let's all move on. So Chica tries to get the ladies to move on from the constant talk about her, but Lydia and Andrea are annoyed because they feel like Chica is defending Gina, even though Chica expressed she does not agree with what Gina said and that it was out of line. But it's time to move on so that they can come together as a group and have fun times, right? Chica suggests Andrea to sit down and have coffee with Gina so that they can hash things out and then we could give this issue, after all the Gina talk, as they always do. And then the ladies have a tour of the facility and shenanigans ensue. The talk of the town, Gina is out walking her dog, after her terrible time with the ladies at Mission Beach. She then gives a call to her stylist to see if he can help her with an upcoming event to figure out which outfit she wanted to wear. Next, we see Jackie and Lydia go lingerie shopping because Jackie and Ben are going on a date night and she wanted something cute and sexy for her man, which, why not? Back at Chica's house, she gets a call from Janet about the big group's spring summer party launch. So apparently it's the start of the warm weather season and Chica is hosting a launch party about all of the different foods that her catering company will be providing for the new party season. Usually it's just for her clients, but this time she wanted to invite the ladies. Janet is asking if Gina is coming instead of reaching out to Gina herself. per Chica. Then we see Ben and Jackie go on their date night to a nice restaurant. Ben brings up the topic of kids. He says once their liquor brand launches, they feel like they can step back a little bit and it's time to start having kids. Jackie doesn't seem too eager about it, but she's, I guess whatever makes her man happy. Then he takes her on a beautiful late night boat ride and gives her a 5 carat diamond earring. No, and gives her a pair of 5 carat diamond earrings just to say I love you. It's time for Chica's big event for her catering company to showcase what they'll be serving. I think before the party starts, Gina calls Chica, which shocks her because she didn't hear from her at all, and lets her know that she'll be coming to support her because Chica was the only one to reach out to Gina when she left Mission Beach and I guess left her a nice message. Gina wants to keep her arrival a surprise from the other girls. She told Chica to not let anyone else know. She's like, I'm just gonna, we're gonna surprise the girls. Then we see the ladies arrive and hit the step and repeat to snap some photos. They go find a spot upstairs. They try some of the food. And the ladies discuss Chica and Bruce are going to have a vow renewal in Dubai with 3,000 guests. Wow. And Andrea is shooting to cover her book soon and wants to give a 1950s housewife style, I guess, with her boobs out because obviously she breastfed 3 kids. Before, I guess, Gina arrives, we get a little scene with her stylist helping her out pick her clothes. And then she kind of gives more in-depth debrief about how she felt leaving Mission Beach and how the ladies kind of attacked her out of nowhere, really. Like they all ganged up on her. But all of the issues that the ladies have with her, like beat by beat by beat, right? It started from, first it was Jackie. It was only Jackie. And then at Janet's party, when she went in the bathroom, I called Lydia a cunt. Andrea inserted herself because she just felt like she was being talked about. So really, it's more Lydia. And again, Andrea just inserting herself because it's all about her. Then tennis day happened, and Andrea is using tennis day as a reason to just attack Gina because she feels like her bathroom was ruined. She feels like she walked her heels on her expensive tennis court, yada yada yada. Andrea brings up Gina once again, as always. This time Jackie suggests to move on, and Lydia is still pushing for Gina to apologize before they can move on. As they are toasting, in walks Gina to make her big grand entrance. All the ladies greet her, and Andrea gives her some pushback on saying hi. They go give all that fake kissing. I'm surprised she Janet greeted her because it felt like Janet is very flip-floppy right now. But she was like, oh, I'm not going to be fake. I'm not going to give her a kiss, da-da-da. But she still ends up doing it because I think Lydia and Chica pushes her too. Lydia is also a flip-flopper because I feel like sometimes she'd be like, oh, fuck Gina, but then also like, you still got to be nice to her, da-da-da. But it's like, why be fake? I understand Andrea's standpoint. Why be fake, right? But for the cameras, I guess. Janet thinks it was gutsy that Gina came to the event, even though nobody's really talking to her. But she still feels like the audacity. They try to toast to moving forward, and each of the lady gets a spotlight dance. They all just dance in a circle. And then we see Dr. Moss come over to say hi to the ladies. He has no idea what's going on because obviously Andrea didn't give him the debrief. So he's just trying to stay out of it, and it's like greets everyone, which is nice because the husbands just stayed out the drama. The ladies go on the balcony to look at the beautiful Melbourne skyline. Honestly, the only person that should have a problem with Gina should be Lydia. It's more of like Gina should have a problem with these ladies because these ladies are going back to the group about what Gina said versus having a sit down with Gina and like discussing what she said to her. They're always bringing the drama back to the group to make some drama. And Gina's just chilling, living her life. She's not letting any of the haters bring her down. She's like, I'm a cancer survivor, I'm a mother, I'm a lawyer, I can handle all your BS. And I'm just here to look fabulous. Episode 9 starts out with Chica and Janet going shopping together. They end up getting some champagne, sitting on the couch while the associates are their personal shoppers. They go out, pick some pieces. And while they wait for the shoppers to come back, They debrief about the event at Lumineer, and this is when Chica lets Janet know she knew that Gina was going to come, but she wanted to keep it a secret. The next scene, we see Gina meet up with a matchmaker. She calls, this is the Australia's version of the Millionaire Matchmaker, because she's ready to go back on the market. Now, in this scene, Gina's like, she hasn't been single since she was 14, but then she hasn't dated in 8 years. I think she really means she hasn't been lonely since she was 14, and then she hasn't really been single since 8 years, but I digress. We then see Lydia at home. She starts to talk to her housekeeper about preparing the house for a dinner party she's having later. She says she's having 15 people over. That's a lot. So literally she's putting this all on one person. So that feels like her housekeeper has like double duty or triple duty. She like has all these hats on. She's like the party planner, she's the housekeeper, she's, well, I've never had a housekeeper, so I don't know what the parameters for a housekeeper was, but this lady literally does everything, because we also see another scene of her helping Lydia pick out an outfit for the dinner party. So she's basically like a stylist now. And then as she's picking her clothes out, she's like, well, you have to organize all this. It's like, damn, you need to pick out the outfit, then organize the shoes. Like, that's a lot of multitasking, but she's talented.
She's a saver.
It's Jackie at her place to see what progress Jackie has made with La Mascara packaging. So I guess they have a friend who, I forgot what his role was, but the friend or whatever comes with the packaging for La Mascara, and the packaging looks really nice. Like each one has I guess each flavor has a different color, a different brand identity. Even the masks on the package that like I guess holds it is different. It's really nice. One of the packaging is inspired by the painting that they did when they were being weird white people, when they were doing weird white people shit. But they have to continue working on the bottle and its contents. So they do have the packaging down, but they still don't have the actual bottle with the liquor in it. And they still only have a few weeks left. So hurry up, girl. After that, we see Chica in a nice little stretch pink limo. She says she organized a private shopping experience for Lydia, Andrea, and Gina. Apparently, West Elm, which is an American company, is opening their first store in Australia. And before they open it to the public, I think with the partnership with her company, The Big Group, she was able to have like a private shopping experience, which is amazing. So she says to ease the tension with the three of them, she wanted to have a fun shopping experience, but did not end up going well. Of course, in order, she picks up Lydia, then Gina, and while Lydia and Gina are in the limo, it's still a lot of tension, and I feel like this is the start of Lydia now being on her moving on track, even though she was one of the people that like hell bent on making sure Gina like is held responsible for her behavior. But between Lydia and Gina, there's already so much tension you can cut it with a knife. And then Andrea comes in and basically, I don't know where Gina and Andrea sits, but they're like not facing each other. So basically, they're not talking to each other. Then they arrive at the location, and then the ladies start to look around. At one point, Gina's looking at something, and then Andrea walks by just to be annoying and completely ignores her. Gina has the ladies, sends Andrea in the corner to invite her to a cancer charity event that she's having called the Girls Night In. So it's like a ladies' night where they, I guess, raise money for children's cancer, which obviously is near dear to Gina since she had her own battle with cancer. Chica asked Gina if she's going to invite Andrea, but she was like on the fence about it, even though I know she's not going to invite Andrea. Even if she does invite Andrea, Andrea's not going. But Gina's hesitant because Gina already opened up to Andrea about her having cancer and then literally did a complete 180 and like attacked her and really didn't give a crap about her or her story. So no, she's not inviting Andrea to her damn charity event. Then there's this weird moment afterwards where Andrea, I guess, is left by herself because obviously there's only four of them. So with three of them being in the corner, Andrea's left by herself walking around the store, and then she like awkwardly walks up and like just stands there lurking over them, and then they're all like scattered. It was really weird. They all scatter, and then Lydia literally flocks to Andrea just so she can go back and be like, well, literally this just happened. Mind you, they're in the same store, so it's not like she can't hear her, right? So Lydia and Andrea are on the side talking. about literally what just happened. She was like, "Well, Gina is inviting us to this charity event, and she didn't invite you." And it's like, she's right there. Just go talk to her. Like, they're such schoolgirls. It's ridiculous. Like, it's so hard as an adult to make friends because you have people like Andrea and Lydia who act like schoolgirls. Like, we are not grown ass women. Like, get out of that mentality. Lydia in this scene is really weird too because when Gina had them on the side asking, "Oh, well, do you want to, what is it?" And when Chica asked Gina, "Oh, did you want to invite Andrea?" Lydia was really hell bent on, "Oh, well, you just need to move on and you need to just, say your piece, apologize, and move on." But it's like, you weren't just moving on like an episode ago. You were very hell bent on like making sure she's held accountable, just like your girl Andrea. And then when she goes talks to Andrea, it's another 180 and she was like, "Oh my God, she's being all this, she's being all that." It's like, damn, Lydia. Again, Lydia is the reason why all this shit even happened because Lydia is going back to all these people saying telling what Gina said. And it's like, you being this back and forth is so weird. So, like, now you want to move on. You want her to move on so that there can be peace. Like Chica, because Chica was right there. But then when you get to Andrea, now all of a sudden it's a different story of how she needs to be held accountable and she needs to apologize, yada, yada, yada. It's like, girl. So, in a bit of a retaliation, then Andrea takes the ladies aside, sans Gina, to invite them to a pamper day at Liberty Bell, and that she's gonna invite Janet and Jackie, and then not invite Gina because Gina didn't invite me to her charity event. And then when she sat down with Lydia, she was like, "Oh, well, even if she did invite me, I wouldn't go." But then you're confessional, you're like, "Oh, well, if she's not gonna invite me, then I'm just not gonna invite her." Like, again, this schoolgirl mentality. Like, what is up? So then after that, we see Gina at home getting a call from one of the suitors that the matchmaker is going to set her up with. And then they plan a date together. So I guess this is like a blind date because she never met him. Next, we see Ben at the studio laying down some tracks, I guess. He's It's just him by himself, even though I thought he was in a band, but I digress. Maybe he's just doing the beats and then they figure out the lyrics later. I don't know. Different people have different processes for recording music. But we see Jackie popping up, just checking on him. And then Janet tags along to see Ben's process because she's never been to a studio before. Apparently, Ben says there's an etiquette about being in the studio, but the two chatterboxes in the back won't shut up. So then Jackie and Janet step aside because Gina is calling Jackie to invite her to the charity event. For some reason, Jackie's still frustrated with her, I guess, with everything that happened at Mission Beach because of the everything that happened at the table. She's siding with Lydia and Andrea because they've obviously have a closeness because of the ski trip. In this scene, she's frustrated because she's like, Gina is one way when you're one on one, but when she's with the group, she's another way. And there's all this talking behind the back, but it's like, granted, Gina is saying stuff behind their back, but in confidentiality. When you have like a good friend and you're in a safe space to just blab, you wouldn't think that they would turn that shit on you and then like tell the whole group, which is what's happening, right? Gina confided in Lydia and or Janet, and both of them just went back to the group and said, "Hey, look at what she's saying behind her back." Like, what kind of friend is that? You're supposed to be my friend, and I'm confidently coming to you, trying to express myself, and you're basically throwing it in my face. So now it's pooch party time, and it's the pooch party at Chica's place. So in order, Janet comes with her pooches, her two Yorkies, Bella and Boychick. Dogs are adorable, so like, honestly, everybody in the scene is great. There's no real drama. Obviously, it's just awkward tension, but like, everyone with their dogs, why, like, you can't be mad when you're like playing with dogs, right? So Janet comes with her two Yorkies, Bella and Boychick. Jackie doesn't have a dog, so she just hitches a ride with Lydia, who comes with her dog Figaro, which we've seen. He's adorable. Andrea comes with her little pooch, Poppy. We saw almost, was it play with a bird like a toy? Damn. And then, like clockwork, at any event they go to, as soon as Andrea arrives, the first thing besides hi, hello, how are you, the next thing that comes out of her mouth is Gina. Like, because every time she goes somewhere, she's always pressed about Gina. So she asks, "Where is Gina?" After she asks about Gina, I think Chica answers with, like, "Oh, she's on her way. She's coming, da da da." And then Janet gets annoyed. She was like, "Don't tell me that she's late." Da, da, da. But like, is she late or she's just the last to arrive? Like, at this point, they pigeonholed Tennis Day being her being late because she had work and then the drive was long, and then now every time she's the last to arrive, she's late. So I don't know if she's really late, but I think she's just the last to arrive. So Gina comes with her little doggy Ninja, um, who's adorable, cute. I feel like every scene we've seen Gina just walking about, she's walking her dog, and it's the same dog. He's cute. So we see that there's awkward tension again. Andrea is ignoring Gina. Chica brings out some treats for the dogs. They all start munching and crunching. And then also Chica has some cute doggy outfits. So they all put different costumes on the dogs and they all look cute. Figaro dressed up as Where's Waldo. He's adorable. Oh my god, it was so cute. To the pooch party, we follow Ben and Jackie going to different venues for their launch party. They meet up with the owner, talk about the details of the event and what the product would look like because apparently they have packaging, but they don't have a product. And every time the business is mentioned, like, yeah, Jackie's there, but it seems like she's in like her own world with the angels because she's a psychic, that she's just thinking about this stuff. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, she's like passing it on to Ben, who I feel like has his own issues with like his music and stuff that he needs to record or put an album or whatever. So like she passes all this pressure and all the technical stuff to Ben, and it's like she's looking at Ben like, well, we don't have that much time, and da 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 da. And it's like Jackie, you wanted this brand. Why are you pushing this on Ben? Because he's your husband, he's the man. But I don't know. I don't know what the talks were like when she first started the brand. But if this is your idea, you need to take charge of what's going on and not keep passing the pressure on to Ben because clearly he's stressed out. Like he looks stressed out. So after they talk with the owner, Ben asks her like a legit question about like what if this doesn't work out? Like what if the brand doesn't work out? And she's just like, well, you better sell more records. What? Then we see Gina meeting up with Daryl, the suitor that the matchmaker put up with for their first date. It seems like it's going well. They have laughs. They talk about, their common, I guess they have children in common, or he has two daughters or whatever, and she has her two sons. It seems like a good time. They were laughing, taking pictures. And Gina says, I mean, she says if it doesn't work out, they could just still be friends, which it seems like Gina has good chemistry with people, with men, but like they're not all romantic, which not all of them can be. You can still have guy friends and not be weird about it. After that, we see Andrea, Lydia, and Jackie are out in the town to celebrate, I guess, the Melbourne Cup sponsored by Emirates, which is very fancy. They're gonna meet Janet at the event, so it's just Andrea, Lydia, and Jackie in the limo. Chica's not able to attend, and of course, Gina was not invited. But as they're on their way to the event, Lydia spills that Gina called her and told her that Janet called her brainless, which she did way back, like towards the beginning of the season when Janet was on Gina's side, I guess, or definitely before Tennis Day. She, like, underneath her breath called her brainless. So, because I guess Gina is retaliating and giving Janet some of her medicine, she's like, well, let me tell Lydia what you said about her. Obviously, Andrea, with her 2 cents, says that Gina is just trying to manipulate the situation to turn Janet against Lydia, but she's just trying to give her a taste of her medicine, because it's like, you want to spill my tea, bitch, I'm gonna spill yours, because I'm not the only one talking about bitches behind their back, clearly. The ladies arrive to the event and they take some pictures. They're able to hold the actual cup. They didn't say what the sport was for. They just said it's the Melbourne Cup, but it's a big event and it's important in Melbourne. So after that, and then they, do the speech. I don't know why she's acting like she didn't call her brain. You called her brainless. She's now trying to backtrack because now it's out. The information's out. Lydia knows, and because Lydia's telling you to your face and you're on her side, now you're trying to be like, well, that's not exactly what I said. No, that's exactly what you said. Obviously, Janet is a bit upset that Gina blabbed. Also, Lydia is a bit wishy-washy when it comes to this too. She was like, well, I am mad at Gina because she blabbed. Oh no, I'm mad at you because the comment you said is very rude. But I'm also mad at Gina because she blabbed. But then Gina's not owning up to it because the other ladies join them, and Andrea's like, "Oh well, at least you're owning it. You're owning it." I mean, it's not like Gina. I know there's a scene where Gina owns what was said with the whole Jackie situation. She owned what she said. It was just taken out of the context because Lydia was being messy. Obviously, ladies feel that Gina is not owning up to apologizing for calling them a cunt. She only called Lydia a cunt, which is the only person she owes an apology. An apology to is Lydia because she called her a cunt. Andrea wants an apology because she just wants an excuse because she said something about her destroying the bathroom or yada yada yada, stuff like that. But or like she was like going on and on about my tennis court and all that thing. It's like, Lord Jesus, she at this point you were just finding things to not like about Gina. So we finally get a sit down with Gina and someone from this group because clearly we're just talking to each other and not going to Gina. So Gina goes asks Janet for a one-on-one conversation to hash things out. Once they sit down, first Gina Gina invites Janet to her charity event. She's like, I'm having this thing. I would like for you to come. And then obviously with all the animosity with all the other ladies, Janet's like, oh, well, will Andrea be... Oh, no, she was like, oh, I'm not inviting Andrea, right? And then Janet feels that Janet needs to do some damage control so that there's no, like, weird tension in the group. And then get right into it, right? Janet lets her know that Lydia told her about the conversation, about the brainless comment. For a second, Gina asks weird, like, what? Why did she do that? But it's like, she was being coy because she knew that it was going to get back to her. That was the whole point of doing that, right? And then she's like, well, if you're going to blab about anything else, just let me know so I can prepare or something like that. And it's like, well, you didn't tell me when you were going to tell all the girls my shit, so why should I let you know? No, Gina flips it back on her and says, well, you want me to let you know when I say something to them, but you're the reason the ladies are upset because you blabbed to the group. So why should I give you the same grace that you want that you didn't give me? That's not fair. Janet asks her why she hasn't apologized to the group about, I guess, everything that happened. And Gina feels she needs one from everybody because of how she was treated at Mission Beach. But then Janet thinks that the way that the conversation was at the table was warranted towards Gina and that she deserved it because she was not owning up to her behavior. Same thing that Lydia and Andrea said because now she done drank the Kool-Aid. So what's Janet basically said that, everything that happened at Mission Beach and the way that the ladies attacked her was warranted. Gina's like, okay, friendship over. Because clearly Janet is not really listening to Gina in this conversation, or like they're just talking back and forth just to be talking and responding. And even on Gina's point, she's not really listening to what Janet is saying because I would say on the terms of calling Lydia, because she did not call it Andrea, she called Lydia a cunt, that Lydia deserves an apology. But and yes, Gina should apologize, but also Janet is not listening to her. So we just have one more episode left within the season, and then we're gonna get to the reunion special, which I cannot wait because, especially with the whole brainless comment, I'm just ready to see a lot of people backtrack on what they're backtracking on, and then everyone literally coming for Gina for what? I don't know. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely get into some more seasons of Melbourne because it seems like the ladies definitely get crazy. And I'm also trying to look into other different housewives, international wise, because everyone talks about the American ones, right? So if you have any opinions, leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Oh, I always forget. Me and my sister have a podcast called A Truly Wonderful Pair. So definitely subscribe to that channel. I'll leave something on this image so that you can subscribe and look forward to more episodes coming out. We will be talking about 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days because this season is ridiculous. But until next time.